UFC Fight Night Font versus Aldo full card prediction. Every single one of the fights on this card, we're going to do a breakdown and prediction for. There's a lot of very solid fights. Couple of short notice ones out there like Cheyenne Velismas. Not Cheyenne Buys anymore. That happened a little while ago with a divorce fighting Mallory Martin. We got Azamat Murzakanov, 10-0, undefeated Russian, making his UFC debut against Philipe Lins, a PFL light heavyweight champion. Duško Todorović and Maki Pitolo, banger of a fight in the middleweight division. Maki Gall, Alex Morono, solid. Leonardo Santos, Clay Guida, two veterans of the lightweight division. Jeremiah Well, Jake Matthews. Really solid fight in the welterweight division. Vince Morales, Luis Smolka. I have no idea who I'm going for there. It's a very, very 50-50 fight. We got Manel coming back, fighting Zhalgas Zhumagulov in the flyweight division. Jamahal, Jimmy Crute. On the prelims, it doesn't make too much sense in my opinion. 12-2, 8-1. Jimmy Crute literally just fighting Anthony Smith, beating Modestas Bukauskas, Sam Alvey, Paul Craig, Michael Olejniczuk, however you say the name. All of those guys he's beating. Jamahal only losing to Paul Craig, beating all of those guys. No idea how this is on the prelims. I hope they pushed it to the main card, but that is a banger in the light heavyweight division. You got Claudio Puelles, Chris Gruetzemacher at lightweight, Brendan Allen, Chris Curtis. Another short notice fight. Originally, we had Brendan Allen versus Brad Tavares. Tavares withdrew. Then we had Allen versus Delije. Delije withdrew. Now we have Allen versus Curtis. Hopefully, Curtis won't withdraw as well. We're supposed to have Sergey Pavlovich, Tanner Bozer. I don't know what happened there. And then Matt Brown, Brian Barberina just got canceled like yesterday. And then Mallory Martin, Monster Ruiz is now Mallory Martin, Cheyenne Velismas. Those got Alonzo Menifield, the William Knight. I don't know how many times this fight has tried to be booked. I mean, 1-2 other times right there. Now they're finally going to actually make the fight happen. Maybe we still got a week and a half to make the fight official, but we shall see. We got Brad Riddell, Rafael Fiziev, and then in the main event, José Aldo Jr. versus Rafael. Some banger fights on this card. I mean, every single fight right here looks amazing. We have so many main card type fights. I believe that Clay Guida, Leonardo Santos is a main card eligible type of fight where there's Jimmy Crute, Jamal Hill, definitely main card worthy in all four fights right there. This is a very, very underrated and very, very solid card in my opinion. But if you guys are new to the channel or anything like that, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those post notifications so you guys do get notified for when I post a video. If you want all the bets that I'm going to be making, click the link in the description below. But with all of that being said, let's get into the first fight right here in the women's strawweight division right here. Mallory Martin and Cheyenne Velismas in the women's strawweight division. Again, as I said in the intro, this is a short notice fight. Similar heights, similar reach, giving a 1-inch edge in both departments for Mallory Martin, only losing to Polyana Viana by armbar submission, as well as Verna Jandiroba by a rear naked choke submission. Now, luckily this fight, she's not going to be fighting a wrestler or grappler like those last two losses. She's going to be fighting Cheyenne Velismas, who is not that type of wrestling and grappling girl. She's definitely a striker. Very, very good kickboxing, coming off a 1-minute flat head kick knockout on Gloria De Paula. I believe the striking is really going to come down to who can land more volume and who can land the harder shots. It's really that's what it's going to come down to. At range, I would say Mallory Martin might have a very, very slight advantage. She might have a little bit of grappling and wrestling advantage over Cheyenne Velismas, although it is very, very even. But the striking is going to be very, very tough to call right here. It's been about 10 months since Mallory Martin's last fight. Her striking really wasn't able to be shown in the fight with Polyana Viana. She didn't really show the striking in Hannah Cypher's fight, didn't really show the striking in the Verna Jandiroba fight, so I don't know how much her striking has improved in all of those fights right there. I looked at her Instagram a little while ago, and I've seen some training footage. She looks fast, she looks powerful, she looks very, very strong. I don't know if that's any indication of how good her striking is going to be here, but I do know that neither girl really has that power power to knock you out with the hands. We know that they can get a knockout with the feet, as we saw the head kick knockout from Cheyenne Velismas, but I do believe this one is definitely going to be a decision. Really on the feet, it's going to be who lands more volume. I'll give a slight advantage to Cheyenne Velismas, but I will give the power advantage in the hands to Mallory Martin, and I will give the grappling and wrestling advantage to Mallory Martin very, very slightly. It is a very, very close fight. The betting odds for this one are going to be a little bit, actually very, very highly favoring Cheyenne buys or Cheyenne Velismas at minus 200 and then at minus 175. But I'm going to go the underdog here. I'm going to go Mallory Martin to win the fight. I believe she is going to be the more powerful striker. I think she'll be able to keep the volume fairly even, not really let Cheyenne buys or Cheyenne Velismas get that much of an edge in the volume department. And I do believe just coming forward with the boxing combinations with heavy pressure and mixing in takedowns every now and then. She can definitely mix in those takedowns, lay some big shots on the feet. I'm going to go Mallory Martin right here. It is, again, a short notice fight for Cheyenne. That is another edge being given for Mallory Martin. So there's a lot of things going Mallory Martin's way. She is the underdog right here. I don't know why she's that big of an underdog. I wouldn't have had her beating a girl like who's the last one she was supposed to fight? Montserrat Ruiz. Of course, I would have had Montserrat Ruiz winning, but now she's fighting a girl that does not have the best wrestling or grappling. I believe she can definitely keep it very even on the feet and mix in with the wrestling and grappling. It is a very 50-50 fight. I can see the fight going either way, 29-28, whoever wins, maybe a split decision, but I do believe the takedowns, a little bit of ground upon, a little bit of grappling will slightly edge out of victory right there for Mallory Martin. I can see it going either way, but I'm going to go to the underdog in Mallory Martin right there. Very close fight in the women's strawweight division. Philipe Lins and Azamat Murzakanov in the light heavyweight division. I'm very surprised on the age of Azamat. He is 35 years old, but he's going to be the younger guy in the cage right here, fighting Philipe Lins at 36 years old. Philipe probably going to be a little bit bigger because he is moving from heavyweight to the light heavyweight division after fighting some pretty solid guys up there. Tanner Boser was a light heavyweight. Andrei Arlovski was a heavyweight. Or no, is Tanner Boser a heavyweight? Yeah, Tanner Boser is a heavyweight, but he might have a slight size advantage on the feet. Definitely going to have the height advantage. 1000% going to have the reach advantage by 7 inches, but that's not going to matter. The height and the reach only matters if you can keep the fight on the feet. That is the only part where the height, the reach, the length, all of that type of stuff really matters. The fight is not going to stay on the feet. Whatever happens here, this one is not going to be a striking fight. Azamat Murzakanov has never had a fight that is just a 3-round striking show. That has never happened for Azamat Murzakanov. Every single time he goes out there, pressures his opponent, takes him down very easily, and just destroys him on the ground. The last time around, he didn't even need to use the grappling, as he showed an amazing right hook and a couple of ground and pound strikes and knocked him out. The striking is really solid. He's got a lot of power in his hands, but again, he's not going to want to strike with a guy as big and as tall as Philipe Lins. Moving from heavyweight, he does not want to strike. Immediately in this fight, he's going to clinch up, get Philipe Lins back to the cage, land that double leg takedown, and ground upon the heck out of him until he gets an arm triangle choke submission or until he gets a ground upon TKO. I don't see this fight going any other way. Tanner is a heavy but small heavyweight. Yeah, I keep getting Tanner Boser confused because he's a very small guy from heavyweight, but yeah, he is a heavyweight fighter. But yeah, right here in the light heavyweight division, I do believe Azamat Murzakanov will put on the pressure in the striking, close the height and reach, clinch up, takedown, ground upon, and finish the fight on the ground. One of my most confident picks of the card right here is Azamat Murzakanov. I believe he will be a ranked light heavyweight fighter, I would say by the end of 2022. That is my best guess right there, but very good grappler and wrestler entering the light heavyweight division. Cannot wait to see who he fights after this one, but definitely going Azamat Murzakanov to win the fight inside the distance. Really good fight in the light heavyweight division. Maki Pitolo and Duško Todorović, if I'm saying the name correctly, in the middleweight division. 0-3 in the last 3 and 1-4 in the last 5 fights for Maki Pitolo. Duško Todorović inside of the UFC is 1 and 2. So both guys that if they lose this fight are very, very high on the list for Dana White to just say, I'm going to cut him, send him back to Serbia, send him back to Hawaii, whatever the case may be. Either guy, they're really fighting for their job at this point. They're both very, very exciting guys. I mean, every fight I've seen from Maki Pitolo has been an absolute banger. Every fight I've seen from Duško with Puelles Soriano, with Daquan Townsend, even the fight with Gregory Rodriguez, they have all been very, very exciting fights in my opinion. But overall, it is a very, very close fight. The betting odds are going to be leading for Duško to win the fight at -170. Originally, I was going to put Duško Todorović in a parlay, but I thought, whoa, ain't no way, because you got to remember the last fight with Maki Pitolo versus Julian Marquez. Goes out there, looks pretty solid on the striking, then he shows some wrestling and grappling. That is what I think can definitely get the win here, because the beginning rounds, the first round, Maki Pitolo is going to go out there and strike. Really wear on the gas, take a Duško in that very first round. Heavy pressure, a lot of volume, really big combinations, just throwing in that first round, tiring Duško out. And in that second and third round, once Duško gets tired, as we've seen in a lot of his fights, especially that Dana White's Contender Series fight with Teddy S, it was 2 years ago, but even the fight with Gregory Rodriguez, he does gas very, very easily. So Maki Pitolo really needs to put on the pressure early on, and then just wrestle and grapple in the second and third round. I think that's the main key to win for Maki Pitolo. I believe Maki could get a knockout here in that first, maybe even the second round, but in the first round, it's really going to be him throwing heavy pressure, really big shots, looking for the knockout on Duško, not necessarily getting that knockout, then mixing in the wrestling and grappling in the second and third round. And overall, I think Maki Pitolo finally comes back with a win. He's only beaten Charles Byrd in the UFC, but look at the guys he's fought. Callum Potter, not really the best guy. Darren Stewart, guy outside of the UFC, Imma Gazanganai, and then Julian Marquez right there. Not necessarily the worst, not necessarily the best competition right there, but overall, I do believe Maki has the power advantage, definitely has the speed advantage, in my opinion, the volume advantage, the wrestling advantage, the grappling advantage. Got the chin, of course. I saw a comment right there from Dave John saying Maki Pitolo definitely has the chin advantage, 100%. He's going to eat the shots from Duško, keep coming forward, mixing the wrestling and grappling, and I'm going to call a 30-27 decision win. I mean, it was a couple of hours ago, maybe 30-40 minutes ago. I honestly was about to think about putting Duško Todorović in a parlay. I literally was about to think of doing that, but we watched the last fight with Maki and Julian Marquez, the chin of Maki as well. He's going to put on the pressure, and he is gonna win the fight, maybe by knockout, but I think a 30-27 decision. Really good fight in the middleweight division. Alex Morono and Maki Gall in the welterweight division. Alex Morono with 20 wins and 7 losses. That is a lot of experience right there. 27 professional MMA fights. If you look way down here, he started fighting way back in 2010 I believe he was like 21 years old at the time. Starts off inside the LFA, does very solid, loses a couple fights there, but then he joins the UFC in 2016. This is all UFC experience right there. Look how many fights in the UFC. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 fights in the UFC. That is a lot of experience for a guy like Alex Morono right here in the prime of his MMA career, getting a no contest on Nico Price, beating Kenan Song, Zach Otto, Max Griffin, Reese McKee, Donald Cerrone, David Zawada. A lot of very solid guys inside of the UFC. He's going to be fighting Maki Gall, who we already know needs to get the fight to the ground. He did catch Jordan Williams with a good shot before he ended up getting the submission, but I don't necessarily think Jordan Williams has the best chin after watching the fight with Ian Gary. Ian's got power in his hands, but I don't know about that one too much. But of course, if he's going to win the fight, it's going to be him going out there, getting the fight down and looking for that rear naked choke submission. I mean, literally every win but one over Zalim Tawari is a rear naked choke submission, but fighting a guy like Alex Morono, who's got very, very good takedown defense, I'm sure if you go to the UFC stats website right here, we're going to see a takedown defense from Alex Morono, 75%, maybe an 85% takedown defense, something like that. I would not be surprised. But the wrestling and grappling, I actually give the wrestling advantage to Alex Morono. Of course, the grappling does go to Mickey Gall right there, but I do think that Morono, if he wanted to, can just stay away from the submission and just out-wrestle Mickey Gall for the win. But he doesn't even need to. He can literally just keep the fight on the feet and outstrike Mickey Gall for 3 straight rounds to a 30-27 decision. I was wrong. The takedown defense isn't necessarily that good, but if you look at how long he was taken down for, one takedown from David Zawada for 39 seconds, he gets right back up. The last time he got taken down was Max Griffin a very, very long time ago, and 2 minutes and 35 seconds. That is all of the control time he was able to get. Jordan Mein way back when. Yeah, Jordan Mein showed some solid grappling and wrestling, but that wasn't quite a while ago. Recently, in the last 5-6 fights, he has not been out-wrestled, out-grappled by literally any one of his opponents, showing his own really good wrestling and grappling against Rhys McKee, even against David Zawada, defending most of those takedowns. So I believe he will defend the takedowns on Mickey Gall, keep the fight on the feet, and just the boxing of Alex Morono has been looking absolutely amazing, TKOing Donald Cerrone, and then getting a very good decision win over David Zawada. I believe he goes out there, beats Mickey Gall by a decision. Every single round, I believe, does go towards him. And I think a 30-27 does go to Alex Morono. A future opponent from Alex Morono, I really don't know. It could be maybe the loser of Santiago Ponzinibbio, Geoff Neal. I believe that would be an amazing, amazing boxing fight. But he's not there yet. Still got to get past Mickey Gall. But I believe Alex Morono's takedown defense will prevail. He'll keep the fight on the feet and outbox Mickey Gall for 3 straight rounds. Decision win from Alex Morono right there. Really good fight in the welterweight division. Clay Guida and Leonardo Santos in the lightweight division. 41 and a half years old and 39, almost 40 years old in literally 2 days. He has 2 days until he turns 40 years old. So 2 guys nearing the end of their career, but they do not look like they are nearing the end of their career. Clay Guida still goes out there with constant pressure, going out there, takedown after takedown after takedown. Heavy pressure in the striking. He's going to be a little bit smaller than Leonardo Santos by 5 inches and have a 5-inch reach disadvantage, which of course is going to give Leonardo Santos the striking and kickboxing advantage. But we already know you can have the best striking in the world. Fighting Clay Guida, it does not matter how good your striking is. Eventually, he'll pressure your back to the cage and he'll look to land some takedowns. The wrestling and grappling of Clay Guida is absolutely amazing. The only guys really able to defend his takedown were very, very good grapplers and wrestlers like Jim Miller, like Marco Madison, and Bobby Green, who has very, very good takedown defense. But Leonardo Santos, another guy out there who actually has very, very good wrestling and grappling as well, showing that in the fight with Grant Dawson, up until literally the last second in that fight. But overall, I do think Leonardo Santos' takedown defense is very, very solid. He's going to be able to defend or use a submission threat from the bottom to use that to get back up on the feet. He's got a couple of submission wins on his record, and that is actually the majority of his wins. 9 wins by submission, arm triangle, rear naked, inside the UFC over Anthony Rocco Martin and William Macaro. So I had a burper there, but sorry, he's got very, very good grappling. So I believe he'll defend the takedowns or use the grappling to get back up on the feet. And on the feet, 5 inches in height, 5 inches in reach, almost knocking out Kevin Lee in their fight, absolutely destroying Roman Bogotov on the feet, knocking out Stevie Ray, knocking out Kevin Lee. I mean, the striking of this man is absolutely amazing. I believe he keeps the fight on the feet for 3 straight rounds and wins the fight by a dominant decision right there, but we'll see what happens. I can't wait to see the fight. 2 veterans clashing in the lightweight division. I really want to see the fight, but make sure to watch this fight. It's going to be a banger. either way because Clay just keeps on coming forward, but I believe Leonardo will defend the takedown and win the fight by unanimous decision. Really good fight in the lightweight division. Jake Matthews and Jeremiah Wells in the welterweight division. 9 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw. He is going to be a lot older than Jake Matthews at 35 years old. Going to be a little bit smaller in height, but very, very long reach right there. For how tall he is, he's got a very, very long reach of 75 inches. Training out of Henzo Gracie, Philly, with a lot of solid guys. I mean, look at the guys he is training with. Sean Brady going out there, beating Jake Matthews, beating Christian Aguilera, Ismael Nardia, Court McGee, Taj Abdul Hakim, and recently beating Michael Chiesa right there inside the UFC. We also got Pat Sabatini beating Jamal Emmers, beating Tucker Lush, Tristan Conley, Jesse Stern, Jordan Titoni, all of those guys. These are the guys Jeremiah Wells is training with over there, and the grappling and wrestling wasn't really able to be shown too much in that last fight, of course, because he got the knockout on Warlley Alves, I believe, in the very first round, but it was in the second round, but I assure you, his takedown defense is very, very solid. He's got very, very good striking. His striking is going to be much better than Jake Matthews, in my opinion. He's got the power advantage, he's got the speed advantage, he's got the volume advantage, he's got the overall athleticism of the striking, and everything like that. The only way I really see Jake Matthews winning right here is just a dominant wrestling and grappling game. But again, Warlley Alves has trained and is training right now. Sorry, not Warlley Alves. Sorry about that. Jeremiah Wells right now is training with Sean Brady, a man that just submitted to Jake Matthews. So he knows Sean Brady was just in the training camp specifically for Jake Matthews. He ended up going out there and submitting Jake Matthews. So I know he's going to show all the secrets, all the ways to beat Jake Matthews in the grappling and wrestling game. And I believe with the training of Sean Brady, with the training of Pat Sabatini in the wrestling and grappling game, plus the fact that he is going to be the much better striker, I think this should be a 50-50 fight. I believe the odds should be -110 and -110. Instead, if you look at the odds right now, if I can find them, to be quite honest right there, they are -185 for Jake and then +166 for Jeremiah Wells. I'm 1,000% going the underdog. Should be -110 and -110, 1,000%. I'm going to go Jeremiah Wells by a decision right there. Very good fight in the welterweight. Wait, one more thing. Again, he barely beat Diego Sanchez. He lasted a very long time with Sean Brady. But again, if you look at a fight with Diego Sanchez, if you are almost losing, or if you're having that close of a fight with Diego Sanchez, you got a knockdown, you got a takedown on him. But if you are not absolutely destroying and dominating Diego Sanchez, I don't know what to say, to be quite honest. I mean, I haven't been too impressed with a lot of his other fights in the UFC. Barely edged out a couple wins over Emil Week, losing Anthony Rockamari and everything like that. But it should be an interesting fight. I do believe Jeremiah will keep the fight standing and will win the fight by decision, but it could go either way. I can see Jake out wrestling and out grappling because Jeremiah hasn't had that long to train for the fight right here. I believe the fight got announced 3 months ago, 2 months ago, or something like that. But I believe the wrestling and grappling will keep the fight on the feet, and I believe he will win the fight by decision right there. Really good fight in the welterweight division. Luis Smolka and Vince Morales in the bantamweight division. This is a weird fight, man. Luis Smolka is going to be 2 inches taller. He is going to have a half-inch reach advantage. Pretty much the same age, 30 and a half, and then 31 years old. One of those fights, man. They got not necessarily similar experience, but they both been in the UFC for a decent amount of time. I believe Vince Morales has 5 or 6 fights inside of the UFC or inside of Bellator, I guess, right there. Losing to Yadong Song, beating Ayman Zahabi and Draco Rodriguez, losing to Benito Lopez and Chris Gutierrez. Luis Smolka also not necessarily doing too good. He did win the fight against Jose Alberto Quinones and against Ryan McDonald, beat Muderji Su as well. It's a very, very tough fight. He had another stat where he was on a 4-fight losing streak to Matthews Nicolau, Tim Elliott, Rayborg, and Brandon Moreno right there. Absolutely insane. It's a tough fight, man. I look at this fight right here with Luis Smolka and Vince Morales. I have no idea who's going to win. I mean, Luis Smolka striking, Vince Morales is striking very, very even. They're both very, very even in terms of speed, very even in terms of power, very even in terms of the wrestling and the grappling. It's really going to come down to who can put on the pressure. And I believe that man is going to be Vince Morales. I believe Vince Morales has more heart out there. He really puts it out on the line, comes forward and lands his shots. Luis Smolka, he's not really the guy that's just going to keep on coming forward. Vince Morales isn't necessarily that type of guy, but he's more that type of guy than Luis Smolka, if you understand what I'm saying. But I believe Vince Morales is going to go out there and keep the fight very even at range, and towards the end of the round, he's really going to come forward with a lot of pressure and a lot of volume. It's very, very close. The boxing, the kickboxing, the wrestling, the grappling, it could go either way. I would not be surprised if we see a 29-28, 28-29, and 29-28 split decision. I would not be surprised, but I believe Vince Morales will just land a little bit more volume because he is a little bit better in the pressure striking. It's such a hard fight to predict. I've watched film on it. I've watched both guys' last 5 fights, and I really can't find one part of their game that they're significantly better in. They're very even in most facets of the game. Really going to come down to who puts on that pace, who puts on the pressure, and who keeps that volume. And I think that guy is going to be Vince Morales. Not a fight to bet on, in my opinion. Very, very close fight. -110 is what I think the odds should be. Luis Smolka is going to be a slight favorite, but I'm going to go the underdog right here in Vince Morales at +120. I think he'll win the fight by a 29-28 split decision. We shall see. I mean, it's just a weird fight overall. I mean, Drake Rodriguez win, losing to Chris Gutierrez and Benito Lopez could go either way. Would not bet the fight. No, there's literally just no chance I'm gonna bet it. But yeah, weird fight right there in the bantamweight division. Slightly leaning Vince Morales to win the fight by decision. A decent fight in the bantamweight division right there. Zhalgas Zhumagulov and Manel Kape in the flyweight division. 16 wins and 6 losses. Probably should be 17 wins and 5 losses in my opinion, as I do believe he beat Matthews Nicolau. He definitely won that fight. No idea why they gave it to Matthews, but he did only lose to Alexandre Pantoja inside the UFC. Very, very athletic flyweight guy right here. Manel Kape, knockout win over Kaya Sakura, knockout win over Takeya Mizugaki, knockout win over Saichiro Ito, if I'm saying that one correctly, and many, many other knockouts. Got a lot of flying knees, got a lot of head kicks, got a lot of just regular knees, right hooks, left hooks. Crazy stuff is being thrown by this man. Getting a flying knee on Ode Osborne in the last fight. Crazy knockout win there. I'm going to be fighting a guy that flying knee is going to be very, very useful against, as Zhalgas literally going out there, takedown. That's all Zhalgas is trying to do right here, is tire up Manel Kape in the first round and just pressure and mixing the takedowns to a decision win. Grind out in the grappling and wrestling for the decision. That is what Zhalgas Zhumagulov is going to try to do right here. But I believe if you're not, he wasn't really able to even do that against Halia Paiva or Amir Albazi. Wasn't really able to out-wrestle, out-grapple those guys. He did get a submission with Jerome Rivera, but I believe the athleticism of Manel Kape is going to be able to allow him to get off those takedowns very, very easily. He's got very good hips, solid takedown defense. That flying knee is definitely something I need to be looking out for as a potential takedown defense. Just throwing up the flying knee every now and then, but overall, the striking, come on, guys. Manel Kape is going to have the advantage there. He's going to be a little bit taller, a little bit lengthier, a heck of a lot more powerful, younger, more athletic, faster, more powerful. I mean, all the advantages go Manel Kape in the striking. It's just, can Zhalgas Zhumagulov get the takedown? And I don't think it's going to happen. I believe Manel Kape, this is his time to finally go out there, get some wins, get back in the top 15 and just start riding the division and get up to the top 10, top 5, anything like that. But I believe Manel Kape will defend the takedowns, keep the fight on the feet for 1 round, and then I believe in the second round, he's going to catch Zhalgas Zhumagulov. Zhalgas, I don't think has ever been knocked out in his career so far. Yeah, he's been knocked out 1 time back in 2015. I believe this is going to be the second time he gets knocked out by Manel Kape. Manel's got power, flying knee knockout knockouts, right hooks, left hooks to the body, head kicks. He's got that finishing ability. Only one fight going to a decision. So I got Manel Kape by knockout right there. Really good fight in the flyweight division. Jimmy Crute and Jamahal in the light heavyweight division. 8 wins and 1 loss. A very, very weird 1 loss indeed against Paul Craig, cracking his arm in the very first, I believe it was the first round or second round, I'm not too sure. Then he literally pulls his arm as is broken down right here, and with the other hand that is not broken, continues to ground and pound. I have no idea how in the world Jamahal just continued to ground and pound even after his arm just got dislocated or just got broken or anything like that. It was absolutely insane. He literally just kept on landing strikes, and Paul Craig landing strikes at the bottom, getting, I believe, a TKO somehow. I really feel bad for the bettors that had Paul Craig by a submission, because technically it was a TKO, but it was a weird one right there. Before that, he did get a knockout on Ovi St. Preux, and then a decision on Darko Stosic, and a lot of other knockout wins as well. But Jamahal, I've looked at a lot of his fights where he is getting the knockout. It's not necessarily one strike and then they're getting knocked out. It's a combination of multiple different strikes compounding over a couple of minutes, maybe a round or two, then he gets a knockout. That is why I personally would never put like a first round knockout prop on Jamahal, because it takes a while for that volume and those shots to really kick in for him to get the knockout. I believe if Jamahal is going to win the fight, it's going to be by knockout. It's going to be in the second round or the third round, because he's not going to get any knockouts on Jimmy Crute in the very first round, in my opinion. I believe Jimmy Crute, as weird we say, is coming off a first round knockout loss due to leg injury, but overall, I do believe that Jamahal, again, if he's going to win, needs to defend the takedowns, needs to land some shots early on in the first round, keep on throwing, and eventually get the knockout in that second round. That's the only real way. He's a very tall guy, likes to keep his hands up here, get your back to the cage, and just start throwing. Some nice shots to the body, whooping those shots around the guard, just trying to lay some shots and get the knockout in the first or second round. It's not going to happen on Jimmy Crute. Jimmy Crute striking, of course, probably isn't to par of Jamahal, but it is very, very close to that, because Jimmy is going to be the more powerful guy, in my opinion, in terms of just like who can throw the more powerful shot. I believe that's going to go Jimmy Crute. He's going to come forward with a big shot and just land a takedown. He does not want to spend that much time with a guy like Jamahal, who I know is going to land some big shots in boxing, and he's really going to be attacking that lead leg of Jimmy Crute, because we do know he's just coming off of a leg kick knockout loss. So again, Jamahal attack the legs early, throw a lot of volume, a lot of pressure in the first and second round, and look for the knockout. But again, Jimmy Crute with the wrestling, with that grappling, getting a lot of submission wins and knocking out Modestas Bukauskas, submitting Michael Oleksiejczuk, knocking out Sam Alvey. He's got way better wrestling, way better grappling, and I kind of think the same thing that happened with Paul Craig and Jamahal is going to happen again. But this time, Jimmy will land the takedown, and he's going to latch in a rear naked choke submission. I don't think he wants to break his arm again, so I think it's going to be more of a choke this time around. So Jimmy Crute by rear naked choke submission in the second or third round. A really good fight in the light heavyweight division. Claudio Puelles and Chris Gruetzemacher in the lightweight division. Claudio Puelles with 10 wins and 2 losses. Again, first thing I want to look at, height, reach, and age. Right there, 3 inches in height, 4 inches in reach, and 10 years in age right there. And pretty similar experience. I mean, usually when you have a guy that is 10 years older or younger than the other guy, usually the older guy is going to have a significantly more experience in the UFC, significantly more experience as an MMA fighter or as a combat sports fighter. But literally, this man fought in 2008, stopped in 2012, came back in 2014 and in 2015, fought a couple times in the UFC, and now we're here. But he's not the most active guy. Had 2 fights in 2017, 1 fight in 2018, 1 fight in 2020, 1 fight in 2021, and trying to finish the year off with another fight in 2021. Not the most active guy, so he's not really getting that much experience for a veteran type of guy that Chris Gruetzemacher at 35 years old usually would be having. But overall, I see see this fight mainly being a rangy striking fight. I know Claudio Puelles, after watching the last fight with Gruetzemacher and Rafa Garcia, wants to stay away from the pressure. We saw in the second and third round, Gruetzemacher come forward with a heavy pressure with the boxing after Rafa Garcia kind of got gassed a little bit, and he looked very good then. But fighting a guy that's a lot lengthier and a lot taller, like Claudio Puelles, Claudio's literally just going to stand on the outside. He's got really good calf kicks, really good body kicks, good jabs, good 1-2s. He's going to use that height, use that reach, stand on the outside, and literally just pick apart Gruetzemacher in the striking. And as Chris is trying to come forward, land that pressure, put on the volume, he's going to walk right into a takedown. The wrestling and grappling of Claudio Puelles is very underrated. He ended up actually out-wrestling Jordan Leavitt in the last fight. If he can do that, he can definitely out-wrestle Gruetzemacher. But again, I don't even think he even needs to out-wrestle and out-grapple Gruetzemacher right here. He can literally go out there, keep the fight on the feet, and just range strike, use the height, use the reach, jab 1-2, leg kick, body kick, and win the fight by decision. But even though that is one path to victory, he also has that wrestling and grappling to fall back on. So I believe Claudio should be a much bigger favorite. He's actually the underdog for the fight, which I was very surprised about. I mean, oh my god, 80% going Puelles, 20% going Gruetzemacher. Yeah, the betting odds, I don't know how, but they're actually going to have Gruetzemacher as a very slight favorite. I definitely do have Claudio Puelles winning. He's going to be the better striker, in my opinion, at range. Just landing more volume, landing the leg kicks, really solid calf kicks, and then mixing the wrestling and grappling. Definitely have a decision win for Claudio Puelles right there. I don't know how he's the underdog, but I guess he is. So Claudio Puelles by a decision right there. Really good fight in the lightweight division. Brendan Allen and Chris Curtis in the middleweight division. 27 wins and 8 losses. That is a veteran of a fighter. Not a UFC veteran, but just an overall MMA fighter that is a veteran. I mean, he's been fighting for so long, never to fight in the UFC, but finally, ever since 2009, all the way to now in 2021, finally got a shot inside of the UFC. He actually had a win on Dana White's Contender Series over Sean Lally by third round knockout. Got a win over Andre Fialho inside the PFL. Lost to Magomed Karimov twice, then to Ray Cooper the third. Got 3 more wins, got another win, and finally, after all of that time, only losing to Magomed Karimov, a champion, and Ray Cooper, another champion in the PFL, finally, deservingly so, got that shot in the UFC and fought Phil Hawes on short notice. Now, he was losing the fight originally. Phil Hawes was piecing him up on the striking for the first 4 minutes of that very first round. But then Chris Curtis goes out there and very surprisingly caught him. He just went down and left hook right to the chin of Phil Hawes, and then landed, I believe, a right hook after that. Got him down a couple ground and pound shots and knocked him out. I personally think that was a kind of a fluke knockout. I really doubt if they did Phil Hawes versus Chris Curtis a second time. I really doubt Phil Hawes is going to get knocked out again. It's not going to happen. But now he's fighting Brendan Allen, a much better striker than Phil Hawes, and a much better grappler and wrestler. Just an overall much better fighter than Phil Hawes. Brendan Allen he's going to go out there and absolutely maul Chris Curtis, in my opinion. In the striking, we saw him absolutely destroy Puelles Soriano for 3 straight rounds. If you look at Puelles' body after that fight, it looked like a tomato at that point. You look right here, that is what his body looked like after that fight, because he landed at least 50 body kicks on Puelles Soriano, really limiting the cardio of Puelles. Just, oh my god, the damage that he was able to land in that fight. Did not even need to wrestle and grapple in the fight, which was absolutely insane. But Allen, the striking has been much improved since the fight with Sean Strickland. Before that, beating Kyle Dawkins and Tom Breeze. So the wrestling and grappling, it's going to be there. He could definitely go out there and take Chris Curtis down and rear naked him in the very first round. That is a way for him to win, but I believe he'll win on the feet as well. Everywhere the fight goes, in the grappling, in the striking, in the wrestling, in the clinching, I really don't care. Brendan Allen is going to absolutely destroy Chris Curtis right there. Everyone out there, parlay Brendan Allen, in my opinion. Again, it is short notice for Chris Curtis. Chris did get another short notice knockout win over Phil Hawes, but I believe Brendan Allen should have no problem dominating Chris Curtis right there. I believe I believe Brendan Allen, I mean, what is he right now? Minus 350 or something like that. But yeah, he's one of my biggest favorites on the card. If you look at all the 14 guys right there, the two most confident guys I have on here are Azamat, Murzakanov, and then Brendan Allen. Those are the two most confident guys right there. But I got Brendan Allen by a decision right there. I can see a submission, I can see a TKO, but Chris Curtis is a very, very tough guy. I think he survives, but I think we'll see a very dominant 30-27. 30-27, maybe a 30-26, unanimous decision right there. Really good fight in the middleweight division. Alonzo Menifield and William Knight in the light heavyweight division. Similar in age right there, 34 years old and 33 and a half years old. The height and the reach, definitely going to go Alonzo Menifield. The striking in terms of volume, in terms of like the amount of strikes that are going to be landed, go Alonzo Menifield. The more powerful strikes, go William Knight. It's very tough to decide who's going to be a winner of the fight on the feet, because judges typically go out there and go for the guy that's letting more volume. Not always. They sometimes do go for the guy that's letting more power, but not letting as much volume. It really depends on the judge. But yeah, William more powerful but less volume. Alonzo more volume but less powerful. But it's gonna be a very, very even fight. 66% going Menifield, 34% going Knight, both mainly by knockout. And I would have to agree. Either way this fight goes, I'm gonna say is gonna be a knockout. William Knight has so much power in his hands, going out there, destroying Fabio Cherant. I mean, first shot, a left counter. It was absolutely insane. He literally ripped it and knocked him out cold in the very first shot. I mean, we usually know that William Knight is one of those guys that goes out there, looks to wrestle and ground and pound the heck out of you for a TKO. He's a very strong wrestler, very big wrestler. But we didn't know he had the power on the feet like he showed against Fabio Cherant. But that is another thing that we need to look at for William Knight, is the power that he's going to have on the feet. So in my opinion, I think the striking is going to be very, very even. I give the wrestling advantage to William Knight. I believe he goes out there, comes forward, gets Alonzo Menifield's back to the cage, kind of like the fight with Alonzo Menifield and Alves St. Preux, where they're in the clinch, and then right when they're in the clinch, William throw a big left hook, go down for the takedown, and literally just dominate them there. But counter left hook knockout from Alves St. Preux. William Knight getting a counter left hook knockout on Fabio Cherant. That could definitely be a way for William Knight to win, because that is how he lost, and that is how William Knight won his last fight. So again, that left hook knockout could definitely be there, but I see him using that left hook to get the guard up for Alonzo Menifield. Then William goes down for the takedown and just dominates the fight on the ground. I believe William Knight has the wrestling advantage, the ground and pounding advantage, the power advantage, and I believe William Knight wins this fight. I believe it will be by knockout or TKO. I don't know if it's going to be that left hook landing that's going to be the knockout, or if it's going to be more like the Cody Brundage fight, where you got the takedown and landed some elbows and got the TKO. Either way, I think the fight will be a knockout, win or lose, but I got William Knight. I believe the underdog right here, if we look at the betting odds, minus 175 and then plus 150. I have the underdog in William Knight by knockout in the second round. I believe it goes past the first. Second round knockout win from William Knight right there. Really good fight in the light heavyweight division. Rafael Fiziev and Brad Riddell in the lightweight division. Now, 10 wins and 1 loss, and 10 wins and 1 loss. Brad Riddell's only loss as an MMA fighter by arm bar submission to Abel Brites, who I honestly have no idea who this guy is, but he's not UFC caliber. He's on a 2-fight losing streak. That is the only loss for Brad Riddell. A fluke arm bar submission loss right there. And the only loss for Rafael Fiziev, a fluke spinning back kick right to the body knockout in the very first round. So both guys, their only losses are very fluke arm bars and spinning back kick knockout losses. But we got to talk about this fight. It is going to be an absolute banger. Decision wins have happened a lot for both Rafael Fiziev and Brad Riddell. 5 decision wins in a row for Brad Riddell, and for Rafael Fiziev, we have 3 decision wins and then 1 knockout over Renato Moicano. That leads me to believe that we're going to see a decision right here. I'm very, very confident that we're going to see the fight go to a decision. I mean, 3 out of 4 fights being decisions for Rafael Fiziev. Only 1 knockout over Renato Moicano. knockout loss, knockout loss, knockout loss, and then submission loss. A guy that does not have the best chin is the only guy that either guys are really knocking out. So I'm very confident this fight does go to a decision. I don't see a world where Rafael Fiziev knocks out Brad Riddell. I don't see a world where Brad Riddell knocks out Rafael Fiziev. It's just not going to happen. But I do believe that Brad Riddell does have a slight power advantage. His hooks are a little bit more powerful, but they're not as fast as Rafael Fiziev. So, it's a very weird fight. Rafael has a speed advantage. He has a technique advantage a little bit. Brad Riddell has the power advantage. Rafael Fiziev has the volume advantage. The kicking game is 50-50. The clinching game is very 50-50. The wrestling goes Brad Riddell. The grappling goes Brad Riddell. It's a tough one. I don't know. It's really, really tough. Fiziev decision by judge robbery. I know, it's one of those fights, right, where Brad Riddell, if he wins, it's going to be a 29-28 split decision. If Rafael Fiziev wins, it's going to be a 29-28 split decision. I believe it's definitely going to be a 29-28. Every single round is going to be super, super even. They're going to land very similar volume, very similar power, very similar shots, everything like that. It's going to be a very hard fight for those judges to actually pick who wins the fight. But I'm going to go Rafael Fiziev right here. I believe if Brad Riddell is going to win, it's going to be with wrestling. I believe the striking slightly edges towards Rafael Fiziev because he does have the volume advantage. I believe he has the pressure advantage. He's more going to be on the front foot on Brad Riddell. He's got the speed advantage. He's got the volume advantage. He's got all those advantages. So in the striking, Rafael Fiziev will win, in my opinion. I believe he's going to win the fight by a 29-28 split decision. But if Brad Riddell is to win, it's going to be in that wrestling game. He's not necessarily the best wrestler, the best grappler out there, but fighting Rafael Fiziev, a guy with 100% takedown defense inside of the UFC, you're going to have to go for some takedowns. Even though he's got such good takedown defense, only way you're going to beat a guy like Rafael Fiziev in the striking is really going to be to take him down. I don't see him beating the striking. I believe if it is a 3-round striking fest, Rafael will slightly outstrike him by very, very small margin and win the fight by decision. So Brad Riddell, mix in the wrestling or you're going to lose. So I don't think he mixes in the wrestling that much. I believe the fight stays on the feet for 3 short rounds. Rafael uses his speed advantage, his volume advantage, the pressure advantage, and just he wins the fight by decision. It could go either way. I can see Riddell winning a split decision. It's one of those fights. Could go either way, but I'm going to go Rafael Fiziev to win the fight by 29-28 split decision. Really good fight in the lightweight division. Rafael and José Aldo in the bantamweight division. I cannot wait for the fight. And there's one thing I really, really want to look at is the age. I was very, very surprised when I looked at the age of José Aldo. 30 wins and 7 losses. Former featherweight champion of the UFC. Former featherweight champion of WEC, one of the greatest MMA fighters of all time, one of the greatest pound for pound MMA fighters, the greatest featherweight of all time in WEC and in the UFC. I have no idea how this man is still a 1-year difference in age to Rafael. It is absolutely miraculous. But 34.5 years old and 35 years and 2 months old. Absolutely insane. The height, definitely going to go Rafael. The reach, definitely going to go Rafael. But not as much as usual. Only by 1.5 inches and by 1 inch right there. So Rafael is still going to be a little bit taller, a little bit lengthier like he usually is. But not by that much. If you look at the fight with Cody Garbrandt, with Marlon Moraes, he has a significantly longer reach than most of those guys. 65.5 inch reach right there against Marlon Moraes. He was 2 inches taller and had a way, way longer reach. So usually he has like a 3, 4, maybe even 5 inch reach advantage. This time around, only is going to be having a 1.5 inch reach advantage. Not as much as usual. But let's talk about how both guys are going to win. If José Aldo is going to go out there and win the fight, it's really going to come down to how many leg kicks he can land, how much pressure he can put on Rafael. He needs to be on the front foot, coming forward with a high guard, defending from those jabs, getting Rafael to the back of the cage, and landing the body. Leg kicks, calf kicks at range, pressure Rafael into the back of the cage, and a lot of body kicks. Then, once his back is to the cage, land a nice right hook to the body, go for a takedown. Mix in the wrestling, mix in those body shots, and mix in those leg kicks are going to be the main way I see José Aldo winning. At range, I'm going to give Rafael the advantage. That is why José needs to be on the front foot, needs to put on the pressure on Rafael, get his back to the cage, land those leg kicks, land those body shots, land the takedowns, and that's how he's going to win. But it is a 5-round fight. I believe one of those first 3 rounds will go Rafael, the other 2 will go José Aldo, but again, 5 rounds, Rafael looked absolutely amazing in a 5-round fight last time around against Cody Garbrandt. We don't know how José Aldo is really going to fare in a 5-round fight right here against Rafael. The main thing that a lot of people notice with José is he's not really the best 5-round fighter. We know him as 3-round Aldo because he's been looking absolutely amazing in 3-round fights with Pedro Munoz and Marlon Vera, but this is a 5-rounder right here. Rafael eventually will be able to stay off the pressure of José Aldo because that cardio will kick in. José's not going to be able to pressure as much, which is the game plan, to go forward, put on the pressure, leg kicks, body shots, takedowns. That is the game plan, but the game plan only works if the cardio can sustain itself for 5 rounds, and I don't know if that cardio will sustain for 5 rounds. I believe Rafael eventually will wear on the gassing at José Aldo. Then he'll start jabbing, he'll start overhead riding, letting his own leg, his own body kicks, putting on the pressure, and just outboxing José Aldo in those later rounds. Definitely going to give Rafael the 4th and 5th round, and I'm definitely going to give Rafael at least one of those first 3 rounds. I believe it'll be a 48-47 decision win for Rafael right there. I can't see José Aldo putting on the pressure for that long. That's the only way I see him winning, is going to be pressuring for all 5 rounds, letting vicious body shots, kind of reducing the cardio of Rafael, reducing the movement of Rafael with those leg kicks. I can't see José doing that for 5 rounds. So I see the fight staying on the feet for most of the fight. Rafael defending literally all of the takedowns from José Aldo, keeping the fight on the feet and just outboxing him in the later rounds and outboxing him a little bit in the early rounds and winning the fight by decision. 48-47 for Rafael right there. Really good fight in the bantamweight division. But yeah, guys, that is my full card prediction for UFC Fight Night Fonta versus Aldo. 14 fights on the entire fight card. Absolute banger of a card. I mean, 2 guys in the prelims, Jimmy Crute, Jamahal Hill, and then Clay Guida, Leonardo Santos, 1000% should be on the main card, and I believe they should probably have Alex Morono, Maki, Gall as the main prelim, maybe Manel, Zhalgas, Zhumagulov as the main prelim. I don't know what the main prelim is going to be, but there's a lot of solid fights here. But I got Rafael by decision, I got Rafael Fiziev by decision, William Knight by knockout, Brendan Allen by a decision, Claudio Puelles by a decision, Jimmy Crute by a submission, Manel Kape by knockout, Vince Morales by a decision, Jeremiah Wells by a decision, Leonardo Santos by a decision, Alex Morono by a decision, Maki, very 50-50 on a decision or knockout. Could go either way. I got Maki winning, but I don't know. I don't know knockout or decision. Very 50-50. Azamat inside the distance, ground upon TKO or by a submission. And then Mallory Martin by a decision. A lot of solid fights right here. Who do you pick for Jimmy Crute? Yeah, I got Jimmy Crute winning that one. But if you guys like the video, subscribe, everything like that. Hit the like button. It really helps out the channel. If you want to support more, you can become a member in the comment section below. We do put all of my bets that I'm going to be making. I'm betting on a lot of the underdogs here. I'm going to do a lot of prop bets, a couple parlays. So if you want to see all the bets I will be making for this card, click the link in the description below to see that. But overall, the underdogs I do have winning are Maki, Pitolo, Mallory Martin, Jeremiah Wells. Who's the other one? I thought I had one more. William Knight. Those are all the underdogs I do have winning on the card. If you guys like, Vince Morales as well. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, everything like that, and we'll see you in the next video. Let's go.